A/B testing B2B emails. Open rate secrets revealed. Stop guessing. Why open rates deserve a real process. If your team is still writing B2B email subject lines by gut feel, you're leaving pipeline on the table. Open rate isn't just a vanity metric in Outbound. It's the gate that determines whether your message even gets considered. The fastest way to improve that gate without hiring more reps is disciplined A/B testing. In B2B, a small lift adds up quickly. When an SDR program is sending thousands of emails per week, moving opens by a couple percentage points can mean hundreds of additional prospects seeing your offer. More chances to earn replies, booked meetings, and real opportunities. That compounding effect is why the best outbound teams treat testing like an operational habit, not a one-off project. In this article, we'll walk through what to test first, how to run statistically sound experiments, and how to keep your team focused on downstream outcomes, replies, and meetings, not just prettier dashboards. We'll also share how we approach testing inside SalesHive programs so the learnings turn into repeatable plays across your outbound sales agency motion. Benchmarks. What good looks like for B2B email opens. Before you test anything, you need a baseline that's realistic for your channel and audience. Across industries, average email open rates sit around 21.5%, while B2B campaigns specifically average about 19.2%. Cold outreach is typically higher when list quality and deliverability are strong, with 2025 benchmarks showing an average cold B2B open rate of 27.7% and top performers reaching 40% plus. The point of benchmarks isn't to grade your team. It's to set a clear beat this target by segment. Pull the last 3 to 6 months of performance by campaign type, cold outbound versus nurture, and by persona, VP versus manager. That segmentation prevents you from fixing emails that are already healthy and helps you focus tests where lift will actually change your pipeline. If your cold outbound is consistently below the low 20s, it's usually a sign of one of 3 issues: list quality, deliverability, or weak inbox hooks, subject line, sender name, timing. A/B testing is how you isolate which lever is holding you back, without rewriting everything or guessing what changed. What to test first: the levers that actually move open rate. Start with subject lines. One study found 32.72% of recipients say the subject line is the single most important factor in deciding whether to open an email. That's why we recommend making subject lines your first testing track for any SDR agency or outsourced sales team running meaningful volume. Use data-backed starting points, then test against your market. Top-performing subject lines average about 43.85 characters, often the sweet spot between clarity and scannability. Personalization can also be a major lift driver. Multiple studies report 26 to 50% higher open rates when personalization is used effectively, especially when it's anchored to role, pain point, or a trigger event, not just first name. Not just first name. Once you have a subject line baseline, move to the from field and timing. Sender name tests, human versus brand, frequently produce meaningful changes without touching your body copy. Send time tests can add incremental lifts when you run them cleanly. Same segment, same message, different delivery window, so your team can keep building pipeline while you optimize. How to run a clean A/B test so the result is trustworthy. Treat open rate tests like real experiments: one variable, one audience, one hypothesis. A practical hypothesis looks like personalizing by job title will lift opens among Director Plus prospects by 10% without lowering positive reply rate. That single sentence forces clarity on who you're targeting, what you're changing, and what winning actually means. Don't declare a winner off a tiny sample. If you're hunting modest gains, which is normal when your baseline is already decent, aim for roughly 1,000 recipients per variant whenever possible. Then run the test long enough to cover typical workweek behavior, at least 5 to 7 business days, so you don't overfit to a weird Monday, a holiday lull, or one unusually responsive account list. Protect deliverability while you test. A subject line that spikes opens but triggers spam filtering is a losing trade, especially for cold email agency programs that rely on consistent inbox placement. Track bounce rates, spam complaints, and inbox placement signals alongside open rate and immediately kill any variant that degrades deliverability, even if the short-term open rate looks exciting. Yes, kill it. Open rate is a directional signal, not the finish line. The only win that matters is the one that produces more qualified conversations. Make open rate work for revenue. Tie every test to replies and meetings. Modern privacy features and tracking quirks make opens noisier than they used to be, so we treat open rate as a relative measure. It's still extremely useful for comparing two versions of the same email sent to similar audiences, but it should never be the only success metric. Your scoreboard should include positive reply rate, meeting booked rate, and opportunities created by variant. This is where structured testing proves its ROI. Businesses that regularly A/B test email campaigns see 37% higher open rates and 49% better click-through rates than teams that don't test consistently. In Outbound, that kind of lift typically shows up as more replies at the top of the funnel and more meetings set, assuming the offer is relevant and the list is built correctly. Operationally, we recommend a simple rule. You can call a test a win only if opens improve and replies/meetings hold steady or improve. That protects your team from clickbait subject lines that inflate attention but lower intent. It also keeps your sales development agency motion aligned with pipeline creation, not just inbox activity. Common mistakes that kill learning and how to fix them. The most common mistake is testing 5 things at once: subject line, sender, offer, CTA, and send time, then trying to interpret the outcome. When multiple variables change, you can't attribute the result to any single factor, which means you learn nothing reusable for the next campaign. The fix is simple. Isolate one variable per test, lock in the winner, then move to the next lever. The second mistake is calling a winner too early. Small samples produce dramatic-looking swings that disappear when you scale, and teams end up rolling out winning subject lines that don't actually win. If volume is limited, run bolder tests with bigger differences. For example, 2 fundamentally different angles rather than tiny wording tweaks that require huge sample sizes to validate. 2 more mistakes quietly drain results: ignoring segmentation and failing to document. Executives, managers, and practitioners open for different reasons, so blasting one test to everyone can hide real winners for key personas. And if you don't log your hypothesis, segment, and results, you'll retest the same ideas repeatedly, especially in sales outsourcing environments where turnover can erase hard-won learning. Optimization plays we see win in high-volume outbound. Send time testing is one of the easiest optimizations to run once your subject lines are stable. HubSpot reports 47.9% of B2B marketers see their highest engagement between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m., which makes mid-morning a strong hypothesis. A large cold email study also found Wednesday as the best day with a 37% open rate and the 12 to 4 p.m. window peaking around 41% opens. Useful anchors for initial experiments before you tailor to your audience. Sender name tests are another high-leverage move because they can change perception instantly without rewriting your sequence. For warm or mid-funnel lists, compare first last at company versus brand only and measure both opens and replies. For high-value segments, you can test an exec sender carefully and honestly to see if it improves attention without increasing spam complaints. Finally, remember you can't A/B test your way out of a bad list. Strong results come from pairing testing with solid list-building services, accurate segmentation, and a message that maps to a real pain point. At SalesHive, we combine cold email with complementary channels like LinkedIn outreach services and cold calling services because multi-channel follow-up often converts the extra attention your email tests generate into meetings, especially for B2B cold calling services targets that need more touches before replying. Next steps: build a testing rhythm or let an expert team run it. If you want results that stick, make experimentation a weekly rhythm. Pick one high-volume sequence, set a single variable test, and review outcomes in a consistent meeting cadence with SDR leadership and RevOps. The goal is a steady pipeline of learning. Benchmark, test, implement the winner, and cue the next hypothesis. Codify wins into a playbook your team actually uses. A simple winning subject line library, annotated with persona, industry, offer, and performance, helps new hires ramp faster and keeps messaging consistent across an outsourced sales team. That documentation is also what allows you to scale beyond one SDR's instincts and turn performance into a system. If you don't have the volume, time, or process discipline to test well in-house, partnering can be the fastest route to improvement. As a B2B sales agency and sales outsourcing partner, we run high-velocity experiments across outbound sequences and connect open rate gains to replies and meetings, not just vanity metrics. Whether you're evaluating a cold calling agency, an outbound sales agency, or a cold email agency, prioritize partners who can show a repeatable testing methodology and a track record of translating inbox wins into booked meetings and pipeline.